Hi there. We're going to start this off by talking about domains, and I'm going to try to keep each tutorial around 5 minutes. And then, of course, you can ask questions or I can make a subsequent video. So we're talking about domains because that's the very first thing you need to get for a client. And you can call it domain name, you can call it URL, you can call it web address. All three of those terms refer to the same thing, and that is the www, even though you don't need the W anymore, or the HTTP. That is what we're talking about, the web address. And so I put most of my new clients on GoDaddy. This is not something that you absolutely have to do, but whatever you are, whatever registrar you choose, that's what GoDaddy is, a registrar. Whatever registrar you choose, you should be consistent, and it's going to make it easier for you as you grow with a lot of clients. You don't want to be going here, there, and everywhere to keep up with or to manage the actual registrar. So you will have your server where you're managing some things, but you'll always have to come back to the registrar, or the client will have to come back to them in order to pay for that URL. URLs are usually paid for by the year. Most URLs cost no more than $10 to $15 a year. Maybe some of the specialty club or store. Here they say $4.99, but usually that means if you buy several years, it always has a little asterisk beside it, which means there's some small print that goes along with that. Anyway, most new clients I have come to, the site is up, the client gets all the bills, and everything goes to the client. What else do I want to say about domains? So that's where the domains are. Who owns them? The client always owns them. How are they managed? Usually there's no management done to them after the URL and the website are hooked up together. There's little management done to the URL itself. It's just paid for every year and it goes on, remote control. And the client pays for the URL unless I have them under my control, which I will show you all of those. I send the client a PayPal invoice. They send me that information and I go in to the account and I pay the bill. I do that for very few clients, but I will signify which ones they are so that you will know which ones you're supposed to be getting paid for. The only other thing I have on here is that before setting up the URL, I usually like to create an alias email under the DonPaul server so that until everything is set up, I get all of the mail. Then when everything is done, then I turn everything over to the client's email address. You're going to find that to be very good system. Other than that, mail is going to be going all over the place. You're not going to know what's happening. You won't be able to have a smooth, setup. So the first thing I do before I even go over to GoDaddy is once I find out that I have a good deal with the customer, they've accepted the project definition plan, is that I go ahead and create that alias email. And I never do hosting and the URL with the same vendor under the same contract. I find that they get a little greedy with the customer and they try to hold their URL hostage, I call it. They're supposed to be hosting it, turns into hostage. The client can't get their stuff straight. I'm in the middle of it. So I always make two separate contracts for that, and we can talk about that later. That's all for this about domain. Talk to you in the next video.